Namaste, my friends. I am delighted and so joyful, as well as a little sad to say that our self care journey, at least for these 15 days, is coming to an end. Today is day 15. Today's focus is all about reflection, reflecting on, what's worked in the last 15 days for you on and off the mat, really. Like, what have you been doing that really serves you for your self-care, that makes you feel good or at least okay? Fine sometimes is all we can aim for on our bad days, and that's cool too. What doesn't work for you? Was 15 days of doing yoga, or 14 or 13 days, how many days you did it? Was it too much? And be honest with yourself. There's no judgment if you can't show up physically and do a full or even a half practice on your mat every day, because a lot of people don't have the time. And as long as you're showing up for yourself in your life and you're reflecting and asking yourself these questions, really that's all that matters. I remember when I was doing my yoga training, there was this moment where we were talking about prana, which is breath and breath work. It's one of the eight limbs of yoga. And the way that we can connect and move with purpose, we can move with intention with our breath and every aspect of our life. And it was a beautiful thing that my yoga instructor and trainer said, is like, if you really think about it, everything you do in life could be considered a yoga practice if you're moving with intention and moving along with your breath. And that's really stuck with me, right? So it doesn't just have to be here when we show up in this physical space. What are you doing for yourself in the little ways every day? With that all being said, one of my favorite ways to start off class is coming to a comfortable seated position. Whatever that looks like for you, come to that. You might need to sit up on a block. You can come in a Sukhasana position like me, with the legs crossed, or even with one foot in front of the other. Let's just take the hands to rest on the knees with the palms facing down to start. I like to take my hands to my legs just to check in and kind of feel my energy. What are my energy levels? How am I really feeling in this moment? So it's more of an internal reflection when I take the palms to the ground, or to myself really facing down. It's more grounding. You have the option of closing the eyes. I know for people who don't feel comfortable doing this, whether it's because they're not alone, maybe they're doing this in a space with other people, or they've experienced some kind of traumatic experience, that's not an option. So maybe just focus on something inanimate, something not moving, just to still your focus for a moment or two. Let's just start with some gentle movements, and really that's what today's practice will all be about. Start with your neck, maybe just taking one ear to one shoulder at a time. You can open your eyes if you start to get dizzy. Sometimes when my eyes are closed, I know I can get dizzy, even if I'm just moving gently. So as we reflect, we'll just start with a little bit more fluid movement in the body. Again, just starting with the neck and with the shoulders, and then we'll settle down into a more restorative, really slow practice, just holding poses and allowing ourselves sometimes to think about things, noticing the quality of the breath, of course, like always, here and throughout our class. And know that if your feelings as you reflect get too much, have an escape plan. Have a plan that somewhere you can go if you need to, if too much comes up for you in this practice. Maybe just sway the body side to side. Maybe draw little circles with the shoulders, one way and then the other, back and then forward. When you're ready, start to lift the gaze, open the eyes if they were closed. Let's breathe in, reach the arms up. Maybe the hands come to touch. Exhale, right hand down, left arm comes up. We'll reach over to the right side to start. Just do this nice and gentle. You can add some little movements, some little pulses up and down, just a few times. On your next inhale, let's come back up. Second side. Over to the left hand down, right arm sweeps up. And if you did so on the first side, maybe you want to add those little lifts, those little pulses. Nice. And then let's come forward as you breathe in, walk the hands in front and then around the mat and over to the other side, arms coming back in front and over to the left. Do that a few more times. We'll make our way back up. Breathe in, reach the arms up. Exhale, take the hands down, just switch the cross of the legs to keep it even. Come into some twists, stretching out the spine in a different way. Breathe in, arms up. Exhale, twist to the right. Left hand comes to the right knee, opposite hand comes behind you. Try to keep it close into the seat just to encourage the back to stay straight. Gaze can come behind the back shoulder if that feels okay for the neck. Breathing in and breathing out through the nose. And if it gets too intense for you, maybe you want to sigh it out through the mouth instead as you exhale. Let's breathe in, back up. Exhale, twist to the left. Right hand comes across. Left hand behind you, right underneath that shoulder. Encourage the back to stay flat. Breathing in and out. Let's try to keep our breath slow today as we move gently in our practice. Nice, breathe in, reach the arms back up. Exhale, let's rain the hands, the arms down, forward, fold as much as you can. Maybe breathing in to lengthen up the spine. Exhale to round, let everything hang heavy. 2 more times like that. Breathing in to straighten out. Exhale to round. Maybe the forearms come down. Last time, breathing in. Exhale, fold, and let's hold just for an inhale and just for an exhale. Maybe rock side to side. Find any movement that serves you. Inhale, let's come back up. Let's come into a tabletop position. And then extend the right leg to the back. Squeeze the seat to lift the leg. Let's start to bend the knee, draw the heel to the seat, and extend. Just a few more times like that, encouraging the hamstring and the quad to wake up, feeling any tightness in the joints. Whew. In your next one, let's hold the bend of the knee and then draw that knee in towards the nose, round the spine, push the ground away, and then step the foot through the hands. You might need the help of one hand to get there. Let's hold our low lunge. And then take the hips back into a half split. So we'll do a few just kind of back and forth like that. Again, just encouraging the hamstrings to open up as well as the hip flexors here. Hands can come to blocks like always, or if you have books, something that can elevate the hands, reach for those. And let's hold it back in our half splits here. Whenever you get there, keep drawing the right hip back into the hip socket and really dig the heel into the ground. Maybe just fold over that front leg. Nice. Let's breathe in, shift forward, take the hands to the inside of that front foot, heel toe it out, take the heel and the toe out, lizard lunge, hands to blocks. You can even come down to the forearms if that feels good, or forearms to block as well. Let's come onto the blade edge of that front foot. Maybe take the right hand there, opening up, pressing on the inner thigh. Maybe the chest can open towards the ceiling. You can stay here. This is already very intense. If you have a strap, this might also help you as you bend the back knee and reach for the foot. Draw the heel into the seat. So oftentimes, especially if we're really low, this is inaccessible if you don't have open hips and open quads. So having some kind of belt or loop or strap around the foot can really help. You want to just practice almost like what we did in our cat and cow. You can practice bending and extending the leg a few times as well. And then inhale, let's release. Come back onto the hands if you weren't already there. Start to lift the back knee up. Front foot steps back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Shake the head, yes and no, up and down, maybe side to side, gently. Maybe you want to lift both heels up, but bend both knees at a time and practice bending and straightening, generously bending here. Just opening up the hamstrings a little bit more. And notice as you bend the knees, we won't be holding it today, but it is quite intense to do this as well. You will be strengthening the back of the legs and the glutes. Let's settle into stillness just for 3 breaths. Inhaling generously through the nose. Exhaling just as deeply. 2 more times like that. Inhale, let's reach the right leg up towards the sky. Keep the legs straight, keep the hips squared. Try to draw the right heel up towards the sky as you draw the left heel towards the ground. It's okay if you keep a bend into that knee. You can even do this in our tabletop position one more time. Inhale, exhale. Let's draw the knee towards the outside of the right elbow. Come into our pigeon pose, drawing the right foot towards the left hip. Let's undulate that spine, breathing in, exhale to lower. Breathing in to lift, exhale to lower. One more time, breathe in, exhale. Let's settle into some stillness. Hands can come onto blocks. You can even take a block just underneath the front hip as well. Maybe swaying the weight back and forth. Let's take about 5 breaths here. Start to come back up onto the hands when you're ready. Start to tuck the back toes. Lift that knee one more time. Send yourself up and back down on facing dog. Maybe find a little bit of movement, especially because we were sitting. We might need to get a little bit of movement back into our legs, into our body parts. They might start to kind of feel like they've fallen asleep. Let's take another breath cycle here. Then inhale, shift forward, back into your tabletop position for our second side. Inhale, reaching the left leg back just for a moment here. Squeezing into the seat to lift that leg. Start to draw the heel in towards the seat and then extend the leg just a few times to wake it up. Nice. Trying to square off the hips. So notice if you're dumping a lot of weight into the right side, try to avoid that from happening by shifting the weight back to center. And then we'll hold the bend of the knee and then draw the knee in towards the chest, round the spine, push the ground away, and then step the foot through the hands. Come into your low lunge just for a moment. Hands can be in blocks here as you shift the weight back into your half splits and then forward into your low lunge. Waking up the hips, waking up the hamstrings on the second side. Going as deep or as gentle as you need here. When you're ready, let's hold it back into our half splits. Digging the left heel into the ground. Almost like you're drawing that idea of the heel towards the hip without actually doing so, just for a little bit more of an active stretch in the back of the leg. Maybe folding down a little bit more over the leg. And then let's inhale, shift forward, low lunge. Hands come to the inside of the front foot. Heel toe that foot out, heel in, toe out. So left toe towards the left corner of the mat. You can stay up here. Maybe you need some blocks under the hands, or you can come down to the forearms. Option to come to the blade edge of that foot. Take the left hand to the inner thigh, open up the chest towards the sky as well. Gaze can be wherever is comfortable for your neck, whether that's to the ground or whether that's up towards the sky. Take some time to reflect what feels good in this practice for your body. What have been some of your favorite poses that we've done? What have been your least favorite poses? And maybe ask yourself, why were they my least favorite poses? Were they painful and maybe I should work a little bit more to develop strength or flexibility before I practice them again? Or were they uncomfortable because we don't practice flexibility enough? And it's something that we can tolerate and work towards building. If you did so on the first side, let's start to bend the back knee, draw the heel to the seat, maybe catch onto the foot. Again, a strap, not a block. A block maybe underneath the front hand can help, but a strap around the back foot or a tie or a belt can help as well. You can always just practice bending and extending the back leg as well. Let's re-extend that leg. Take both hands towards the inside of the foot. Make sure that foot is grounded. Pick up the back knee. Send yourself, whoops, up and back. Downward facing dog. Ooh. So feel into any tension. Maybe find a little bit more movement here. If you feel like one of your legs kind of falling asleep, just pedal that out. And now start to lift the left leg towards the sky. Bend it in towards the chest as you shift forward into your plank pose. Take the knee to the outside of the left arm, and then draw that heel over to the right wrist, coming into your pigeon pose. Bending into that front knee, obviously, draw the foot towards the right hip. Let's undulate through that spine, breathing in. Exhale to fold. Breathing in to lift. Exhale to fold. Breathing in to lift. Exhale, fold, and hold it here. Try to keep the hips neutral. Maybe even tucking the back toes can help you out there. Notice any tension into the knee. So you want the knee to be at a 45-degree angle from the knee to the toes. Forearms can be on blocks, or you can lift the left glute hip up onto a block as well to alleviate some of this tension. Let's take about 5 more breaths here. Settling into this hip opener. Let's breathe in, start to come up, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, lift that front knee, step back, downward facing dog, pedal out the feet. This is our final downward facing dog before we stretch out the spine a little bit more. So find anything that's calling to you here. Anything that you want to try out, that you want to do, just to stretch out the back, the hamstrings a little bit more. Let's breathe in, shift forward to our plank. Come down to the knees maybe here, and then all the way down chaturanga to the belly. Let's take the hands beside the ribs. Let's take a baby cobra here. Breathing in, reaching the tailbone back, drawing the elbows in towards the body. Let's take another exhale here, or inhale here, sorry. Exhale to release. Let's do that a few more times, your own pace. Breathing in to lift, and lift from the heart space. Exhale to lower. Notice if you have any tension into the low back. Maybe just keep it a little lower if you do find that. One more time, your own pace. We'll come into our Sphinx pose now. Elbows underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers wide. Almost like you're pulling yourself forward, draw the elbows towards the back of the mat, spread through the heart space. Let's take the left hand towards the right corner of the mat, bend the right knee in, maybe reach onto that foot and draw the heel to the seat with the right hand, opening up the shoulder. Hold it here for 3 breaths. Know that a strap or a belt can always help here as well with your grip around the foot. Final breath. Inhale to release. Second side. Taking the right hand towards the left corner of the mat, 45-degree angle with that right forearm. Start to bend the left knee in. Left hand reaches for the foot. wherever you can reach on to today, and know that a block or a belt, something can help you with that grip. Open up the chest towards the left side of the mat, and let's hold for 3 breaths. Inhale to release. Let's come up onto the hands, push your way up through tabletop position, child's pose. Let's take the toes together, the knees wide to either corner of the mat. Just allowing the forehead to rest here, reaching the arms forward. Allow the hips to sink down towards the heels. What is coming up for you today? What are you reflecting on? Maybe how will you better serve yourself as you go forward in your self-care journey? Let's take another breath cycle. And then inhale, shift forward into our tabletop position, cross at the ankles, come to a seat. Let's find our way all the way down into our back. Draw the knees in towards the chest, wrap the forearms around the shins. Let's just rock side to side here. Know that you can stay here. We have one final kind of little push, stretch for our back. Let's take the feet about hip distance apart. You should almost be able to touch the heels with the fingertips. Really press the heels into the ground, maybe even lift the toes off the ground. As you lift one vertebrae up at a time into your bridge pose, squeeze the seat here. Draw the inner thighs together, almost like there's a block between the legs. The knees are shining forward towards the front of the mat over the first 2 toes. Make sure we're not arching into the back, so sometimes there's a tendency, if we're not engaging the glutes, to drop the hips down and have that little semicircle, that kind of half moon in the back. Try to lengthen the tailbone up on a diagonal towards the sky. You can even interlace the hands underneath the back and come onto the shoulder blades here, but just be careful as well. This might encourage slight arching into the spine. Let's take a few more breaths. If you're looking for a more restorative pose as well, you can always take a block underneath the seat just to prop yourself up there, maybe even underneath the back. Just be careful of that arch in the spine. Let's take a final inhale, a final exhale. Uninterlace the fingers, let those go, and then come down one vertebrae at a time. If you weren't already there, let's draw the knees into the chest one more time. Just rock side to side. Maybe you even want to lift the shoulders off the ground, draw the nose towards the knees. Give yourself a big hug, some love. You deserve it. Keep the right knee in towards the chest. Extend the left leg long. Maybe sway the knee side to side here. You can even draw circles. You can draw circles into the hip with the knee. And let's draw the knee over towards the left side of the mat. Right arm can come to the side. Gaze goes there with you. If you feel comfortable, you can always close off the eyes here as we close off our practice. If this is too intense as well, you can bend both knees, stacking the right knee over the left. Let's inhale, come back to center. This time extend the right leg, draw the left knee into the chest, and let's sway the knee side to side. Maybe duplicate what you did on the first side to the second, whether that's swaying the knee side to side or drawing the circles in the hip. And then when you're ready, let's draw the knee over towards the right side of the room. Take the left arm to the side and the gaze over to the same side as well, over to the left. Try to stack that top hip over the right hip as much as possible and modify this as you see fit. So if this isn't comfortable for the back, you can decrease the spinal twist by just bending both knees, maybe even resting a block underneath the left knee here. One more breath. And then let's come back to center. Maybe you want to give yourself that hug one more time. Draw the knees to the chest, wrap the forearms or the hands around the shins. Maybe you want to stretch out the hips into a happy baby pose or another hip opener here. Whatever feels good for you today. Your final little stretch before we settle into our Shavasana. What do you need? And when you're ready, let's come into our corpse pose or Shavasana. Taking the left foot to the left corner of the mat, right foot to the right corner of the mat. Hands rest alongside the body. Maybe you want to take the palms to face up towards the ceiling as well, just soaking up any positive, reflective energy you've cultivated in your practice. If you feel like you need to be a little more grounded, you can always take the palms facing the mat onto the ground. Notice any differences between how you feel now from the beginning of class. Maybe come back to some of those initial thoughts, some of those initial reflections. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and thank you so much for practicing with me if you've been following along on this journey. No matter if you practice one, two, a few times, or if you practice every single one. Sharing this with all of you has been such a joy and really such a learning experience for me as a teacher. I hope to keep learning and growing with you as we share our practices together. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.